Hi, John Traver here at Traver Connect. Thanks for joining us on our Service BDC video today. If you've already partnered with us, we appreciate your partnership over these past years. If you're new to us, we look forward to getting to hear your story and come alongside you relative to Service BDCs. When you hear the term Service BDC, the first word for me that comes to mind is calls. That's what really a Service BDC is going to be built around, both inbound and outbound calls. Those calls are going to load your shop, it's going to drive your RO count, and ultimately, it's going to tee up your next retail unit. One reason the Service BDC is so successful today, so important today, is it has a massive amount of opportunity in the form of those incoming calls. The cell phone changed everything. It's increased the amount of calls to dealerships, and as a result, we have to have a team of people centralized to take those calls. It's always been busy in service, but today, when you ask dealers, they tell you they need help.
With only 3 service writers, it's virtually impossible for my service writers to load the shop effectively and efficiently in order to keep my shop full.
The second thing I'd be thinking about if I were you is, what do my calls sound like? What is our statement of work in those calls? Are we asking for email, address, phone number? Do we use a time and mileage approach to make sure we're pre-selling to any additional needs, or are we just order taking and then trying to take care of the customer when they get there and tell them we need their car all day? So what you want to do is establish a clear roadmap for how your calls are going to be handled. We'll help you do that, whether it's virtually here through our BDC or we do it with your team at your dealership. So perhaps you're like some dealers, when they hear us talk about centralizing the calls here in Dallas, Texas, they wonder what that call might sound like.
One thing I like about Traver is that my customers feel as though they're dealing with someone within my own store. I've had several customers come to my store and ask to speak to Chelsea when my people that realize Chelsea doesn't work there, she actually works in the call center in Dallas.
I have you scheduled for the recall. Was there anything else?
Let me tell you, you're like the most professional person I've ever spoken to, I think.
My pleasure.
Good job.
Thank you.
No, I'm serious. I'm being completely serious. No, we don't need anything else. That was great.
You have a wonderful day.
Okay, you're doing a great job. You sound good on the phone. So
Oh,
when I see Herb, I'll tell him he's a great person on the phone.
We're built for Service BDCs, 60,000 square feet of workstations and personnel trained to take inbound calls. There's a handful of ways we can help you. We can help you with a virtual Service BDC where we take your calls. We can help you with outbound campaigns, filling in those open spots in your schedule, turnkey, not just getting the customer to call, but actually taking the call and loading it in your scheduler. 3, training for your business development manager, for your business development rep. How do they take these calls? We'll bring them into our customer experience center if they're a BDM, or we'll provide online training for those BDRs. Leadership education for you. You're wondering, what are my KPIs? What should my staffing plan be? We can walk you through this in less than a day. And then tools, everything from texting, mobile payments, even in-dealership software to help your BDRs. So hopefully you see we're built for Service BDCs. This is what we do, not what we talk about, and we hope to be talking to you soon.
It's Dr. Phil McGraw here. Yep, and I wonder how many of y'all knew that was my last name. It's kind of like that cartoon character, you know, Quick Draw McGraw. He was a horse who walked on 2 legs, but was still able to shoot a revolver with hooves for hands. I wonder how'd he do that? I'm so confused if I should scratch my watch or wind my butt. Oh well. The Transformers from DRAIVER, Team Velocity, Recall Masters, and Fixed Ops Magazine are coming up next.
Companies across diverse industries conduct a lot of vehicle moves every day. But are you tracking the efficiency and cost of these moves? The level of time and planning, or lack thereof, going into them? Many businesses actually fail to track vehicle movement costs, and that leads them to encouraging, whether they know it or not, wasteful uses of time and money. This is where DRAIVER comes in. We move vehicles daily, at any scale, from local to international, empowered by our AI logistics platform. When it comes to vehicle movement, DRAIVER takes all the heavy lifting off your staff. Your employees are tasked with moving vehicles, people, and packages every day. DRAIVER's simple web interface makes it easy for your people to track and control the chaos. Then, our drivers get minute-by-minute instructions via the app, making sure everyone is on the same page. The DRAIVER platform matches pickup and delivery tasks with drivers and then coordinates drivers to trips. It adds efficient logistics to your operation. Our platform constantly optimizes routes, termination points to origination points, and rideshare versus chase decisions. In practice, it eliminates the need for a chase vehicle over 40% of the time, saving your business time and money. To keep your operation consistently staffed, DRAIVER can predict workforce shortages against daily demand and find insured, vetted drivers ASAP. Best of all, DRAIVER is flexible with your infrastructure. It seamlessly integrates with your software and processes, so you don't have to change a thing. You can use the platform to optimize your existing operations. You can take advantage of DRAIVER's network of drivers, or you can use a combination of both. We make it easy for any business to move vehicles. Whether it's one truck, hundreds of cars, or 1,000 semis, our online platform does it all for you. Sign up today, and we will waive all setup fees, and we'll credit your account with $200 for free moves.
So, Jim, you a big fan of the Transformer movies?
Yeah, I've definitely watched them a few times. You know, the cartoons were on a lot back in the 80s when I was a kid. So it's kind of cool to see them pick this as a theme.
So why do you think the Transformers during the Fixed Ops Roundtable, what do you think Ted and Gene have in mind on this one?
Well, I mean, obviously the idea of transformation is a great theme, but I actually think there's some themes that are in the movies that are highly applicable to what we're going to be talking about.
Interesting. How is that? What are you thinking?
Well, there's a lot to go on, but I think the two main things that I think we can highlight is one, that you can get more than you expect out of yourself if you have some confidence and you're willing to take some risks. That's one theme. And then the other one is that, you know, everyone has the right to free will. And Optimus Prime, that's a big thing with him about why he, you know, supports the human race and the Decepticons don't. So there's a couple good themes there.
Yeah, well, so nothing to do with Megatron or Optimus Prime, secret government agencies, Dark Side of the Moon, nothing like that?
I mean, it's all related. We'll see where Gene and Ted take it, but I'm excited to see where this goes.
All right, well, we're excited about this next segment with DRAIVER and want to reintroduce everyone to Anthony Monteiro, who is the Chief Operating Officer at DRAIVER, and Jim Bauman, the Vice President of Client Success. Anthony and Jim, welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Hey, Ted, thanks so much. Jim and I are here. We're going to talk about some transformational strategies in these difficult times. You know, there's a potential to change the way that dealers do business in their service department to keep those bays full and keep their customers happy.
Yeah, it's great to be here, Ted. I really got to know the Fixed Ops Roundtable team well at my time at Uber for Business, and you guys have always been great advocates for strategies that lead to good results for dealerships, even if it means doing something new and transformational. So we're excited to be here.
Hey, and that's what we're all about. So, gentlemen, what specific types of transformations are you here to talk to us about today?
Well, I think firstly, it's about giving customers freedom. You know, in the Transformers movies, free will was a big theme in those movies. And DRAIVER really provides that freedom to customers that dealers can offer pick up and drop off really anytime that they want. So they're not inconvenienced. So that's kind of one of the first themes we want to cover.
Wow, that is transformational. So you mean a customer, Jim, can have their vehicle picked up at, let's say, in the morning, get it serviced, drop it back off in their driveway that night, and not have to disrupt their schedule at all?
Yeah, absolutely. And the dealership doesn't have to necessarily add any personnel or infrastructure or flatbeds or anything like that.
All right, now, Anthony, it sounds too good to be true. What are the downsides of this?
Well, Ted, you know, I'm going to say really none. other than you have to be willing to transform your old ways of doing business, which touches on the theme of the Transformer movies, expecting more from yourself than you thought.
So, Anthony, what do you mean by that?
Well, I just happen to have a few slides from a deck that I'm working on for Digital Dealer coming up in Las Vegas. And I'm going to pull up a quick slide. There's 5 pieces for profit in your service lane. And that's really the theme of what we're going to be talking about. So I'm just going to pull that up if you don't mind real quick. Okay, so we're just going to do a quick few slides if you guys don't mind. And the reason I want to talk about this, because it's super important, we've always lived in this world of it costs me money to provide service valet. And it's really kind of been relegated to the dealerships that have highline stores and have these big budgets. But you can take this service valet, rideshare, reconditioning, service equity, and service memberships in these 5 profit lanes and turn your service department into a profit center. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here, but I just want to give everybody a sense and a teaser of what can happen in the service lane. If you provide service valet, your customers will pay for it. We know that for a fact. So no longer does it have to be the burden of the dealership to pay for the cost of this pickup and drop off. It increases your profits. And if you offer this on your service appointments, you can grow your service appointment scheduling by 3 to 4 times. So everybody knows, and we've heard expert after expert after expert, including John DRAIVER, say, make service appointments and you'll control your service lane destiny. And it increases retention because customers are happier. They have a better service. So that's just one bucket. I'm going to quickly go to the other one, rideshare, right? It's a way to provide a shuttle service, little or no extra cost to your dealership. The auto reconditioning. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, but listen, it's super important. We have all these new really cool software there that streamline the reconditioning process. So I'm trying to take the time or the time from the time it goes in the shop till it gets to my front line. What about the time that it takes to get from the auction or wherever I bought it? How many days can you save there? And then when it's done, how fast can I put that back out on that front line? So, service profit lane number 3. Number 4, service equity. This one is super powerful. Again, real quick, find the vehicles in your service lane in customers that have equity, mine it, use the newer pre-owned car near to what they like and bring it to them as a loaner car, thus alleviating some of the pressure of your need for loaner cars. And you're doing service lane equity, but on that remote pickup and delivery. Last but not least is service memberships. Offer this to your customers and include the pickup and delivery, include that service contract, include that scheduled maintenance, so that as a customer, I don't have to do anything other than pay a couple extra dollars per month, and all of it's included and covered, and you make a little bit of money. And then the bonus one is hotshot parts. Get those parts real quick if the car's up on the lift and you want to keep working on that job. 6 ways in your service lane that you can turn it into a profit center versus a cost.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a great point, Anthony. It all leads back to our theme of, free will and freedom for the customer and for the fixed operations team. So, since we're talking about transformers, let's see what Optimus Prime has to say about free will.
Freedom is the right of all sentient beings, Megatron.
Wow, I had no idea Optimus was such a philosopher, Jim.
Yeah, well, all melodramatic side, people love their freedom. And that's really why the pandemic last year and a half has been so hard, because it's curtailed a lot of our freedoms. But, if you scale up a service concierge pickup and drop off program at your dealership, you're giving your customers the freedom to have factory trained technicians work on their car at their convenience on their schedule. And you're really respecting their free will.
And you're going to be building a loyal customer base and relationship in the process.
Exactly.
Anthony, you said your other transformational theme was about expecting more from yourself as an individual or as a fixed ops team at a dealership. Can you elaborate on what you mean by that?
Sure. And, I'm taking off of those slides that I just briefly shared with the group here. A lot of dealerships know that they should be offering pickup and drop off to their customers, but they're not sure how to do it, right? They don't have the tools, they don't have the software, and most importantly, they don't have the personnel these days to get that vehicle picked up and dropped off. But they have a fear that it's going to cost them some money. I can't afford to spend another $5,000, $4,000 per month to pick up and drop off customers' cars, especially if it's a oil change or tire rotation. We know that customers, if you offer them service pickup and delivery, 60% of the time, they're going to accept it and pay for it. We know they'll pay anywhere between $50 and $100 for that convenience for you to come and pick up and drop off their car. So just offer it, because you're no worse off than if you didn't. The worst thing they could say is no, and you say, okay, great, what time will you be here? Simple.
So is it a lack of confidence or a lack of information that's holding fixed ops leaders back from offering these services?
I think it's a little bit of both, right? It's a little bit of offering something new and doing something new, and it to get out of the paradigm of we do not offer pickup and delivery, and the lack of personnel, the difficulty of hiring and putting these processes in place around your whole operation that's really busy servicing cars. And now all of a sudden I'm going to layer in this complex thing of pickup and drop off. Well, that's what we do. That's how we help dealerships get rid of not only the fear and lack of knowledge, we just bring in makes it easy for them.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony's right. I mean, customers are willing to pay for this huge convenience of, not having to wait at the dealership or not having to, get in a dealership shuttle and really disrupt their day. This is the ultimate convenience, and they've shown their willingness to pay at a lot of the dealerships that we work with.
Yeah, and what I was talking about earlier too, in one of those profit lanes is if you pick up and drop that car off for the customer, they're at home, they're doing Zoom meetings like this. They're working, they're cleaning the house or working in the garage. They're not sitting in the service waiting area, twiddling their thumbs, really anxious, wanting to get out of there. The dealership has the car for the entire day. So when I call them up as a service advisor and say, hey, Anthony, you need brakes, or hey, Ted, I need to do a service K on your vehicle, a 60K service on your vehicle, you say, go ahead and do it, because you have the time and you're not under this pressure to get that work done. We know Brian Benstock's been on here talking about that many times, and it's proven over and over again. If you have that car, the upsell work is 20 to 40 and sometimes 50% higher.
Okay, wow, that is amazing. But I'm guessing the hard part is how to go from offering pickup and drop off every now and then to making it a fully scaled up and supported program.
Yes, and that's where the service like DRAIVER comes into play, because we make it easy. We take the hassle of scaling the program up, organizing and optimizing all the trips from the dealership, and offering a contingent workforce that is available based on your volume on a day-to-day basis. All of those drivers are fully insured. It takes all of that stress and hassle of setting up a department like this in the infrastructure, in the time and money, and we make it easy for the dealership to get going right out of the gate with little or no infrastructure costs and maybe a day and a half of training.
I love it. So giving your customers freedom and convenience and expecting more from yourself and your service department, but with a little help from a service like DRAIVER, it's a great combination that can transform your fixed operations.
Exactly. And all it takes is a little bit of planning, expecting more from yourself, right? Back to the transformer theme, training best practices. We offer all kinds of support. We know that clicking buttons and pressing buttons in software doesn't solve any process problems. So we bring in best practices. We work with the folks in the front line, the advisors, the BDC agents, to make sure that when you bring this in, that you're going to be 100% successful, and you're going to find those 6 profit lanes, and you're going to make money picking up and delivering cars through your service department.
Anthony Monteiro and Jim Bauman from DRAIVER here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Anthony, where can our audience learn more about DRAIVER and what you do for dealerships?
The best place to go is our website, www.draiver.com, DRAIVER.com. Best place to go. It's fully informational, whether you're a fleet, OE, car dealer, or any business that just needs to move cars around a lot. DRAIVER can make it happen for you.
And DRAIVER does make it happen. Jim Bauman and Anthony Monteiro here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thanks so much, Ted.
Thanks, Ted. Thanks, Gene.
You're welcome. Thanks, guys. That was a lot of fun. Keep on transforming pickup and delivery. We appreciate it. And Ted, another transformer in the automotive industry is Team Velocity, and their own Kevin Winter is up next.
Kevin Winter is the Senior Vice President at Team Velocity Marketing, a great friend of the Fixed Ops Roundtable and the Fixed Ops community. Kevin, welcome back to the event.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me, Ted.
I know our theme here is Transformers, but you're going to be talking about transforming the customer experience. And by the way, customer experience is probably never more important than it is right now.
Yeah, no doubt. And we definitely doubled down on fixed ops within our customer experience platform. So I'm definitely going to touch on that. But we truly do believe in being able to measure that entire customer experience and what truly drives the customer into the dealership.
Well, Team Velocity is the leader with your platform, with Apollo. So Kevin, I'm going to let you go ahead and take it away. The show is yours.
All right, perfect. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Ted. So, I just want to start off with just a quick view of our customer experience platform and what it's made up of. It's made up of really three key categories: digital advertising, websites, and then sales and service retention. And I would say probably prior to a year or two ago, 80% of our business was in the sales side, driving new vehicle sales, used vehicle sales. And what we really doubled down is on that fixed ops side of the business in terms of service retention. And I'm going to talk a lot about, why we built this customer experience platform and specifically why we built it around fixed ops, and then how we truly believe that our approach is going to transform the industry. So first, let's talk a little bit about why we built the platform. And the first reason is the fact that these different organizations were still very siloed, whether it's in dealership or whether it's in manufacturer, and we lack the integrations, right? A lot of times you might have a dig-ad provider, you might have a service reminder provider, you might have a website provider, and none of them actually talk to each other or integrate, in the right way. There's great companies out there, obviously, but we thought that it was really important that we built these and integrated these on a single technology platform. The next one is the personalization. So companies out there like Tesla and Bank of America and Starbucks, they've all mastered it, right? They've figured out how to personalize their messages and in a way that it resonates with the customer. And today, a lot of times you go onto a website for a dealership and you're asked your name multiple times. I think I heard someone mention one time that someone, got asked their name almost 27 times on a dealership's website. So, if it's a customer of the dealership, our true belief is you shouldn't have to provide information. We should know who you are, whether it's from the advertising or to the actual website, and personalization is key. The third is the old way of communicating to customers, both for sales and service. And so the old way, there would be website activity that would flow into the CRM, and then that would push out a message. And Ted, I don't know if you've seen this before, but a lot of times those messages are just, it's just like plain text emails, and they're not very visually appealing as they should be today.
And the customer can tell, Kevin. They realize that. We pick up on that right away.
Yeah, it's older technology, and we wanted to do something different. So we feel like we have a new way. We have a way of getting to a customer and make it visually appealing and personalized. And that's really where our focus is. The last is what I think is probably the most important, because Ted, I don't know, in terms of how other service marketing or service advertising providers, how they measure retention. For me, I've been in the industry for 20 plus years, and the companies, that I know in the industry, a lot of times they send communications out and they simply say, hey, if a customer's been back within 8 weeks or 10 weeks, we're going to count them as a response. And they don't really know if that message truly got the customer in.
That's right.
So what we're doing is, we're taking all of our advertising, right? And we're doing all of it. So, search, social, email, mail, and we drive that traffic to the dealer's website. Now, the current way, a lot of times in terms of engagement percentage, the average dealer will see about 3% engagement, and then they can't truly understand how the customer transacted. And the new way where we think we can truly measure and optimize is driving the traffic. And today, driving the traffic to our websites, we're seeing about a 10.86% engagement rate. So almost 3 times the engagement rate of, average websites. But the real key number is the transaction rate. So out of those 10% of the customers that engage, whether it's they filled out a form or they clicked a call, out of that 10.8% that have engaged, we're seeing 26% transaction rates. And I'll show you here in a few minutes how we measure that all the way across the journey. And that's really what I want to focus this on, is how we think you can measure and be extremely transparent with dealerships in terms of what really moved the needle and got the customer in. Does that make sense?
You bet.
So let me talk about how our approach is different, what we think is way different than what the industry is doing today. One, I talked about it real quick earlier. It's an integrated platform. Everything is built on a single piece of technology. So when we communicate to a customer that their vehicle is due for maintenance, that advertisement connects to the website, which then connects to the service scheduler, which then connects to our Transact tool if they want to purchase. And so it gives us the ability to understand that customer journey, which gets lost a lot of times. The other part is, I know we're all, this conversation is around fixed ops, but we believe in order to transform the industry, you need to do both sales and service retention on the same platform to truly understand where that customer is along their life cycle. You might have a perfect opportunity to take somebody that's in the service drive and move them over to a new vehicle sale, and vice versa. You might have somebody that's receiving a sales communication that may be due for service. So we think these go hand in hand. We don't think you should do just one or the other. We think you should do both and do it with a single provider. The other part that we're doing different is we're putting the DMS data, this rich data, and we're putting it right underneath our platform. So the DMS data powers the communications, it powers the websites, it powers the reporting. And what that means is it gives us the ability to personalize, right? So if somebody says, hey, what's your trade value? Instead of just letting them know, hey, your trade value is X if you fill out this information, we connect the customer's trade value from the DMS to the website so we can personalize to Joe, here's your trade value on your specific vehicle because we know who you are. You're a customer of the dealership. You shouldn't have to guess or fill out any forms. It should be really easy. And it's the same thing with service history. You're able to see your service history with one click of a button. And these are, service history is something when we built our websites, we sat down with focus groups, and it was one of the top 4 things that they wanted to see. They wanted to be able to see their service history on their vehicle online. Ted, I'm sure you've looked at that before. It's something that everybody has.
You know what? The way you're putting it together here with the customer experience is very innovative. So it's I think you're doing some unique things.
And then this all comes through to that personalized website experience. And we've doubled down on the fixed ops side of the business over the past, like I said, year or two. And our websites are now giving not only the customer allowed the ability to transact from a purchase or from a sale, we're also giving the customer the ability to transact for service, which is huge. So the customer can truly transact all the way through scheduling service online, coming into the dealership and closing out that RO, all on the website. But the newest feature, which I love, is we're also giving the customer the ability to purchase parts and accessories online within our website. And we know there's a huge market for that, especially after the customer purchases the vehicle within those first 2 years of ownership. And so I'm super excited to be able to release that part of the platform and allow that the ability to customer to transact. And then just the overall customer experience, right? 75% of customers, go online via their mobile device. And when they do, you want that to be personalized to the consumer. So whether it's viewing their service history, or it's pickup and delivery, or it's scheduling their service, you want it to all be at the click of a button. All the forms filled out, no reason for a customer to fill out a form. You want it to be super simple. And we've really created that simple customer experience within the platform. Lastly, I want to touch on the new way, like I talked about earlier. So if you remember, Ted, we talked about how, it was plain text emails a lot of the times within some of the other providers. And what we're doing is we're treating it kind of like an Amazon, right? Ted, if you shop, do you shop on Amazon? I'm sure you do.
Everyone does. Yes.
Everyone does, right? So, you shop on Amazon, you purchase, soccer equipment, and then next thing you know, you might get, pushed an email that says, hey, matching cleats, and it's really simple to purchase those. And that's what we're doing. We're saying, hey, based on this website activity that these customers are having, and the fact that the DMS sits under the website and the platform, we're able then to know who that customer is and push them messaging, whether they've abandoned their service scheduler appointment, or they've gone online and selected a vehicle of choice. And it's not the plain text, right? It's the video. And what we're seeing so far in the first 6 months is double, triple the open and click-through rates, just because it's personalized and it's relevant. That makes sense, right? I mean, It seems simple.
It has to be both. That's right. Mm-hmm.
And then the customer view, right? At the end of the day, we just want to make it simple. We want them to have a few clicks and then be able to service their vehicle or purchase their vehicle. The last thing I'm going to touch on real quick is the back end, because I think it's really important that we give our dealers all of this rich data that's coming out, whether it's from the communications or it's from the websites. And so we've created this command center dashboard, which we've just released. And in this example, you can see the service drive, 228 customers that are in equity, that are coming in for service within a certain period of time. And you can see all their shopping activity, and you can two-way communicate with those customers. And it just gives the dealer all that rich opportunity, for a service to sales transaction, or even the opposite. And this is just a quick snapshot that you can see how we're capturing that on every single customer transaction. So I talked about that earlier. Transaction is the key for us. It's not just sending out a communication and knowing if the customer came in 8 weeks from now. We know if the customer has scheduled service, we know what that service was for and how much the RO generated. And then you can see in this example, after the service transaction, we sent them one of those precision emails, giving them the ability to shop online, where this customer then created a vehicle of interest and actually purchased online using our Transact retailing tool. So it's just the power of the data is really what is driving everything for us within the platform.
Nice.
And I think, you know, like I said, we've released our new service retention module within the last several months, and it's working great. I mean, we want to do things different than it has been done in the past, and I think the progress speaks for itself. We've actually about 100 dealers over the last 60 days have made the switch and have come over to our new service retention fixed ops portion of the customer experience platform. So we're thrilled about that, because it's an area of business that we think is due to be transformed.
And Kevin, it's a great looking platform as well.
Thank you. Yeah, no, we're excited. I've been in the industry for a long time, and I feel like, you know, a lot of the fixed ops advertising platforms, great companies out there, but it's, you know, lacking the digital, it's lacking the customer journey. A lot of them don't have websites, and it really is important to connect all the dots.
Team Velocity built this platform and has great experience with lots and lots and lots of our dealers here at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. So Kevin, if people want to reach out, general managers, fixed ops directors, service managers, parts managers, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, reach out, teamvelocitymarketing.com, or you can reach out to 703-783-9572. You can get those numbers right off our website as well.
Great. Kevin Winter from Team Velocity Marketing, thank you so much here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much, Ted. Thanks, Gene.
And thank you, Kevin. And special thanks to Team Velocity as well for your support of the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Sean Reyes and Poe Duncan of Recall Masters join us next on Transformers.
More than 1 in 4 vehicles on the road today has an unrepaired recall. OEM efforts have fallen short, not only because it takes persistence to connect with consumers, but because it's nearly impossible to locate second, third, and fourth generation owners. That's where we step in. Using data, technology, and communications, Recall Masters connects dealerships with 3 times more owners than the factory, not only from your DMS, but prospects who have yet to service with you. Making driver safety a priority not only benefits consumers and protects the OEM brand, but unleashes impressive service and sales revenue opportunity for your dealership. We are the preferred partner for several manufacturers and 4 of the nation's top 5 dealer groups, supporting all major brands, most of which are too busy with existing operations to attend to the flood of consumer inquiries about recalls, the repair process, to drive the vehicle or not, whether parts are available, scheduling the appointment, and on and on. We'll serve as your outsourced recall department. We'll lift the entire burden from your shoulders, delivering multi-channel, multi-touchpoint customized ownership communications to our dedicated call center that walks consumers all the way through the process, even scheduling the repair appointment directly onto your scheduling platform. For consumers, the one call does it all process makes it convenient, resulting in more repair appointments. All the peerless data, technology, and communications. A turnkey recall department for less than half the cost of a full-time BDC agent, preserving BDC resources for activities less resource-intensive than recall management. Let's get started by looking at the opportunity around your dealership. Provide us a few details and we'll run a recall opportunity report for your PMA and beyond. But hurry, consumers are looking for an authorized service center to address their recall. Safer vehicles, better informed consumers, and empowered dealerships. Recall Masters, the auto industry's recall solutions leader.
Well, that was great, and we want to welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable 2 friends of the event, both from Recall Masters. They are Sean Reyes, a regular contributor here at the Fixed Ops Roundtable, and Duncan. Sean and Poe, welcome back to the event.
Thank you so much, Ted, and Gene as well. I brought along Duncan with me to talk about the next evolution of where things have going. Certainly the past year has been a challenge for all dealerships and our entire industry, but a lot of great promise came out of it. And I predict a few more things to come. So really exciting to be here to share.
And Sean, a lot of opportunity as well have happened in the last 18 months, let's say. Poe, you were at our event in Las Vegas in February of 2020, and that was our last physical event up until now. And, you know, who could have imagined all the things that would transpire?
Very unpredictable, right, in the last 18 months. But yeah, that was the last time I met you both, and looking forward to the next time we can, if not hug, at least handshake.
Well, we have a hybrid event coming up, so we're really pleased about that. Sean, take us a little bit into the space on recalls, and I know you're going to talk today about a number of things that Recall Masters does, and go ahead and take it away.
Right. No, I'll start with the idea that on the theme of being a transformer, we had to transform, certainly a lot in the past year. A lot of the success that we were seeing with the dealers, of course, was continuing, but we had several clients come to us and ask us whether we can do more, right? How do we leapfrog from the success that we're having with the recalls, taking the data, right? This data, this ability to find these owners that are so difficult to locate, right? The second, third, fourth generation owners. And so we had to come up with some other ways. It started with this idea. Now, here's a product. These are retention cards. So when the consumer comes in to attend to their recall repair, we were providing these for our clients so that the service advisor could turn to the consumer and say, you know, we're apologizing for the inconvenience of having to attend to this recall, but here's a special thank you on behalf of the dealership that you can use, and this one's a $30 gift card, you can use for additional service at our dealership. So we were finding out that a good percentage of those consumers who were receiving these retention cards on site as a point of service deliverable were using it almost immediately after the MPI was performed and found that there was additional service that needed to be done. So it was hugely successful, and so many dealers turned to us and say, could we use something like this for some of our other customers, perhaps customers who who we sold to but never serviced, right? Or those who have moved into the community and we don't even know about them and they don't know about us, and we'd want to introduce those relationships. So Poe and I got together, and over the course of the past, I think last year predominantly, we focused around the holidays. So this was one of the early, and you'll see happy holidays, right? So we focus on a seasonal gift card. It was a huge splash for the last 2 years. And Poe and I redesigned it to say, you know what? This shouldn't just be for the holidays. Dealers have all kinds of promotions throughout the year. Could we not make this a 12-month offering and even extend this to those clients and dealerships who weren't even doing business with us? So I'm going to hand it over to Poe, who's going to talk about all the success that we've had from this program. You can see all the different makes and dealers that we do.
And by the way, those are very good-looking pieces, all personalized, and and I love how that opens up. It's a great presentation.
Right. In fact, it's a credit card style gift card that denotes the amount that the dealer wants to offer, right? All of this is customizable. Much of the copy in here is completely customizable. The offering, you can bundle it together with other promotions that you're doing. This goes outside the realm of recalls. Again, has nothing to do with recalls, but you could run a campaign that revolved around recalls. So this is the flexibility of the product that goes so much further beyond anything that we ever expected would be successful at the dealership. But this card is super valuable, not only because it looks and feels like a credit card and even has a chip there, if you can see that, but the card itself is personalized with the consumer's name. So this really has a huge boost in terms of what we're able to do for the dealer. I'm done talking because Poe's really the one who's in the trenches day to day working with the dealers.
Sure. Thanks, Sean. I appreciate that. I'm going to tell a quick story. As Ted has mentioned, in the last 18 months, it's been a little bit crazy, a little unpredictable. So BMW, if I can use them as one of the example, they are a factory partner. And one of the BMW center last year reached out to us, and they're in a city that is a very, very hard hitting due to COVID, the pandemic. And this is their word to ours, is that I need help. I have no one coming in, no one's driving. We're in a lockdown. I can shoot a canyon in the middle of my driveway, and it's unheard of because they're in one of the major metropolitan city. So of course we jump in and help, you know. And so what we did was we sent out, I think, a good amount, I think 10,000 records of these, and they immediately were able to see traffic coming in. Because what we all know right now is what we hear on a day-to-day basis from the dealer groups to the independents, a single point dealer, is that customer is not driving as much. So have a notion of, oh, I don't need to service my car as, you know, the 6 months period. Maybe I'm going to wait out a little bit more. And guess what? When that happened, who else is talking to their customer? You have the Jiffy Lube, the independents that is coming in, talking to the customer, and you just never know when they're going to defect. So our goal is to be able to help our dealers out there to send a different message, to let them know, hey, we're here. And the stats that I'm going to share with you in just a moment, it's outstanding. And we've been doing long enough to know that, you know, data speaks louder than anything. So what we track, and we know that the denomination, as Sean has mentioned, could be any amount. It could be 25, could be 50, 100. But our average across the board nationwide, it's about $38 on the value of the gift card the dealership offer. And again, just a quick thing on the card is that they can only use it at your dealership. So they can't go to any other retailer and use it. So the goal is to drive that traffic back to the dealership. Within $30 average store offering dollar amount, the average ROI is $4.95. So you can do the math, right? So most of our dealers have a really good team on making sure that when the customer come in, they do a thorough MPI, making sure that they're offering the customer, you know, what is needed for service, right? That's really the goal, is to touch the customer, roll out the red carpet. And it does have the wow factor because they're receiving a gift card probably the first time ever from any dealership, right? And it's going to be from your dealership. And then when that happened, the consumer already have a mindset of going in, getting things done. So what we track, it's about 7% one-time discount. The customer will come in, spend an average of 13% more than what the cart is offer. So we have study after study, and case in point, we have Pat and Curtis, if you remember Ted from BMW South Point, that was on a previous roundtable.
Yes.
They love it. And Sean and I just got on a meeting with Pat and the team, the marketing team last week. We're already talking about, second and third campaign because they just absolutely love it. And Pat's word was, my customers just come in thanking me to give them something during the holiday or whatever, seasonal promotion there are and wanting to do business. So again, this is something different. Our goal is to be able to really help our dealers out there to drive in the good customer paid traffic and not to pigeonhole them to only maybe do the oil change or the timing bell or whatever it might be, because it's really giving the control back to not only the customer of what they think they need done, and also the dealer be able to help generate the recapturing any lost customer they haven't seen, and also acquire any new business that been driving up and down the highway, right, that just haven't stepped foot in the door. So get that engagement rolling.
And Poe, I was thinking that it might be Patricia because I remember her with the event last fall when Sean had the panel. She was on, they were both on the panel. I remember her saying specifically that one of her concerns before Recall Masters was the customer who does not come in, who was driving less mileage. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, Poe, that's me. I'm a BMW driver and I stopped driving and I was not coming in for regular intervals as well. So my driving habits changed last year during COVID. So, this is a really unique opportunity. And as Sean showed us also, that it's personalized as well.
Right.
Let me add to that. It not only, the beautiful thing about the cards and the flexibility that we offer the dealers, it can also be used for accessories. So wherever the dealership would like to extend this, whether it's parts, whether it's the sales side, whether it's service, you want to invite these customers back because the more touch points you have, in fact, Poe will never take credit for this, but 6 to 9% of those people that we talk about as we touch them in recalls come back to purchase their next vehicle from that servicing dealer. So again, all of these touch points, as long as you're providing that wow factor, right? Not common courtesy, but rather uncommon courtesy, you're elevating your profile away from competitors, from other independent repair shops. You're really giving that consumer a reason to come back into the dealership for servicing.
Yeah, and I'm going to add one more thing to tie back to the fix op, because we're in a fix op roundtable, right? Is that because we all know the inventory is short right now out there with all the dealers, and how much more is it for Sean, who just purchased a brand new vehicle, to come back to my service department to service that vehicle, right? So if it's not a gift card, it might be something else a dealership can do right now to be able to get Sean to come back to service. So again, it's touching on a couple of things. It's not just acquiring a new consumer or vehicle owner to your dealership. Again, we have a lot of people moving all over the place. So tracking down that owner, it's crucial now more than ever before. So we want to make sure that we can help our dealers be able to get that message out that they are still open for business. They're following all the CDC guidelines and make sure they feel safe, and just give them an extra reason to be able to come in and do business with them, because we all need to service a car, it's just a matter of when. So
a great differentiator, and something that, like you said, the customer would not expect, and something certainly I didn't expect that you do at Recall Masters. So I think it's very novel.
We're transforming. That's exactly what we have to do, right? We're always, well, and two, another thing that Poe didn't mention, this is an entire turnkey campaign. So it not only includes first class postage and the deliverable to the consumer, but it also includes all the communication components that go with it. So for email, campaign cadence, we also include something that we call the recall department webpage, which installs a recall check directly on your dealer homepage or on your website, so that you don't have to chase that really valuable traffic back to the factory. You can provide recall services and allow them to check every vehicle in their household, even those that are off-brand, right? This is about being a beacon of safety in your community. All those interactions allow your dealership to really stand out. So we're excited. We're breaking the mold. We're going outside the bounds of recalls to do what we do best, and that's aggregate data and find owners.
All right. So how does our audience get a hold of you? How do we learn more? And again, how do they get their questions answered? What's the best way to reach out?
This lady right here next to me.
Okay. Poe, I see some information up on the screen. Of course, we have recallmasters.com, which is the website, but I see your email and phone number on there as well.
Yeah, that's my number and my email. Feel free to reach out, and also in LinkedIn as well, whichever form of communication everyone is used to these days. So yeah, we're here to help, and we're transforming.
Love it. And what's the name of the what is the name of the campaign or the product again?
R plus.
R plus.
R plus.
Okay. All right. Poe Duncan and Sean Reyes from Recall Masters here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Sean and Poe. And folks, our next panel is set to tackle some great questions about how to transform your dealerships for success both now and in the future. And it's sponsored by our good friends at Fixed Ops Magazine. Stay with us.
That's right, Gene. And now we have a long anticipated panel. It is sponsored by Ron Overs, our good friend, the publisher at Fixed Ops Magazine. Ron, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Well, thank you, Ted. Appreciate that. This should be a lot of fun today.
Hey, Ron, you and I are working on so many things together, so I really appreciate you putting this panel together, and you got a great topic ahead from what I see.
I do, Ted. You and I talked about it a little bit, and we talk so much about, how to do a good job in the service drive or how to handle parts or all kinds of things, but it takes real people to do that. And the people that we need have to prepare themselves for their next opportunity. Every day we block and tackle and do our jobs, but you know what? How do you prepare yourself for that promotion, for that next opportunity that exists for you?
And you've got the all-star team here. So I'm going to go ahead and let you introduce everyone on the panel.
Well, thank you, Ted. Really appreciate that. So let's start right off with Ed Roberts at the top and say, Ed, tell me a little bit about yourself, like an elevator speech. Tell me, hey, who are you, Ed?
So I'm Ed Roberts. I've been in the automotive business professionally for about 29 years. I started in this business as a tech apprentice, and I've held almost every position in the dealership. I have not worked in the accounting office for any period of time. So can't say that I've held any of those. And I have not worked in Sarah's space in the BDC personally. Been involved, but not worked in there. But other than that, I've worked in just about every other position, and it's been a fun ride. And you get out of this business what you put in it, for sure.
Oh, for sure. Sarah, how about yourself? Tell me about yourself.
Hi, Ron. Hi, everyone. Welcome today. I'm Sarah Van Tyne. I'm the Vice President of Business Development with Quantum 5. I've had quite a career in the retail side of automotive. That's where I've been in most of my time. Now I'm on the other side of the table, so to speak. I have been in business development for the majority of my career for both sales and service, and it's an amazing place to be.
Very good. Not everyone knows Corey because he's new to this group, but he's been in the business a lot of years. So Corey, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, good afternoon. Thank you, Ron. My name is Corey Smith. I started as a service advisor back in 1998. I currently work for National Auto Care, where we provide ancillary products, service contracts to RVs and power sports. I'm the fixed operations training manager. So I work with the service department as a consultant, look for areas of opportunity to improve the training department, and really teach them how to give the customer a great experience. So happy to be here.
Fantastic. Thanks, Corey. Tully, how about yourself?
Well, my name is Tully Williams from the Nilo Company. We're celebrating our 100 years in business, so we're quite excited out here in Sacramento, California. Started the business in 1980 when I was in high school working in an automotive shop. And just, I've been held a lot of positions in fixed ops, and I enjoy the ride. I believe what success is all about the people that you're working for.
Amen. So true. So true. Sean, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you very much. I'm Sean Kingery. Been doing this a few years shy of Mr. Roberts. I've been doing this for 27 years. I work for the Step One Automotive Group. We currently have 14 stores, 22 separate companies. We now own a couple parts franchises and a couple things a little bit different. And I'm gonna back what Tony just said is it's all about the people. And if you don't grow with the people, and if you don't modify and change with the people, you just won't succeed.
Absolutely. Well, let me start right off with Sarah and ask you a question and just say, can you tell me 2 or 3 things that you did as you were promoted through all the different positions that you had that separated you from everyone else, that prepared you for that next job? We all want to do the job we're doing really well, but someone's got to look at you and say, wow, you're exceptional in the way you do things. What were those kind of things that you did that kind of separated you from the rest of the people, let's say, in the organization?
One of the biggest things that I learned from one of the general managers that mentored me many, many years ago was never stop learning. And that has really been the foundation, I would say, of my career. There's always been opportunities throughout, transitioning from sales to internet sales manager, going into running a BDC, doing marketing. All of those things required me to really take the opportunities and the mentorship and learn, and then continuously apply that and just continue learning as my career evolved, but also how this industry evolves. Customers change a lot of how they transact and how they do business, and we've seen that over the last decade. And so it's become really important that we continue to be a student of learning.
There's no question about that. That's so important that we just continue to grow. Ed, how about yourself?
There's and I don't think we necessarily set out with a destination in mind of where we end up or where we're trying to go, but there's always becomes that target of the next move. And I will tell people all the time that you have to prepare yourself for that, because when there's a vacancy that you're looking to fill or you're looking to move into, there's usually some need for that, whether it's because the performance isn't there and you have an opportunity to do better. So in order to move into that, you can't go in there green and think, okay, well, I'll learn it as I'm here. You kind of got to prepare yourself to be ready for the next spot. So you got to know it. And because part of our job is to inspect what we expect. And we can't really do that. So I'll tell people you have to know it to be able to coach it, then to be able to inspect it. So it's constant preparation and learn with intent.
That's so true. And you for the last year, right? You've spent your time in school, right? You've been in advanced education for the last year, preparing yourself to move from an amazing position as a fixed ops director to the chief operating officer of Bozard. So that's pretty impressive that you didn't stop learning. To use Sarah's point, right? And continue to. And I think your point's well taken about. We don't know what that next job is. So to say I'm preparing for this next job is almost laughable, right? I mean, I look at my career at times and you just say, publisher of a magazine? Oh, come on. My English teachers are rolling over in their grave. Okay, they're just like, are you kidding me? And
for you, Ron, probably look back 5 years. 5 years ago, probably you wouldn't even thought there's no way I'd be doing anything with a magazine. I mean, we don't know what tomorrow holds.
No, I mean, I had an agency. I was the largest distributor for the products that I was selling to automobile dealers. I was, Superman in my little world, doing my little thing. And, 2 friends from, the West Coast there called me up and said, man, we got a problem. We need someone to be the publisher of our magazine. You want to jump in? And I'm like, cool. That sounds great. What do you do?
But you've owned it and you've done well with it because you have found what it takes to make it work, and you continue to evolve in that. And that's what all this is about is continue to evolve. You may move into something that you don't understand completely, but yes, it's chasing down those avenues to figure things out and ask questions.
Well, I look back at it, and for 30 years, I was, calling on auto dealers and talking to the service manager and involving service and saying, how could my product make your life better? And so, so there's direct correlation, but I was preparing and didn't even know I was preparing for it. So yes, so true. Corey, tell me a little about yourself. What got you to where you are?
Well, I was selling hi-fi, and a dealer came in and bought some stuff for me and said, "You should be working in my service department." And he was a great leader for me. His name was Gary Puyat, and his words of wisdom to me were just, always look for that next opportunity, continue to grow, work smart, look at how everyone else is acting and how they dress, and prove you're responsible by arriving early. So that really always stuck with me. And then, my dad gave me some great advice where, really embrace being uncomfortable. And that's how you're really, truly going to grow. And same thing with Sarah's point is that always keep educating yourself. The only way we truly get better is by being uncomfortable and embracing new things, new responsibilities within the job. And that's what I really, truly learned. And I took that next step of, being a good advisor to being a better advisor, to being an assistant manager, to being a service manager, and then being a fixed operations director.
Great points. And the point being too is the next job or even the current job you're in, it may not be, a bowl of cherries. It may not just be a great place to be, but make it as great as you can make it. I don't care what job it is, be the best at what you do, train yourself, get great at it. And if you're capable of being great at that, you're probably capable of being great at something else. Don't worry about being uncomfortable at the part of the gig, right? It's not always, life on the beach. It's there's tough days out there, and get over it and get to it. Get the work done. That's what we do. So it's so true. Tully, tell me a little about yourself.
Yeah, I think that when I look back on my career, I think that starting off in high school and working for an independent, you're still kind of a green. But I think what I learned the most is when I had my own automotive facility when I was younger, I learned so much that I don't do today. And I think that when you learn from your experiences, and then when you get these jobs that we've had, and I believe that less jobs are the better. So I've had 3 major jobs in my career besides owning my own store, is that my career change has been, I fully feel that it's the confidence that you have in running your store. It's the confidence that people have in you. If you're running a store and the people in your store don't like you or have no confidence or trust or want to work for you, it is a massive fail. And when you go to a store and you go in there and you look at a career and you will see that your people truly believe in you and what you're trying to do to make them better and make more money for them and their families, that's great. And then when you get your next job, I walk in with total confidence that I can change their store. And it starts with the people in the store. It doesn't start with, oh, let's go buy a new program today and have this magical myth happen. It's all about how can I come in and motivate your people to be the best they can be, and they can make more money for them and their families.
So true. The word confidence is so, we all assume you get confident, right, by doing something well over and over. And the reality is, if you don't start confidently, you will never get great at what you do.
And I think people see that in people, and you look at managers at any industry, you kind of look at the managers, and when the manager's like, well, it's not going to work. You have to be assertive and know that you're in charge and everything's going to be okay. And as managers, that's our job. We have to give confidence to our people, and it starts with us on the top. One, I think, educated and know what we're doing, and there's some gray in there, according to my wife. But a whole thing about it is that, we have to, it's all about making successful people below us. It's not making success above us, right? It's all about the people below us. The reason Tully Williams is doing a great job at Nilo is because my stores are doing a great job at their location. The processes and the belief that the systems that we have in place are going to help them and their families, which in turns drives CSI, because truly we're on the repeat referral business. And I say we're in the repeat referral business with employees just as much as customers.
Yeah, it is so true, Tully. And, I think, I was really hoping that would come out during this, and I didn't want to, load anybody's lip on it. I just wanted to hear it come out naturally. The reality is, Ed is a success because he's made great people under him that have absolutely built a platform that has allowed him to direct great people. And you got to give them the confidence to fail. You got to give them the confidence to succeed. You got to let them, have the tools, and then just, empower them for growth. No,
and when you hire a service manager underneath you, you want to hire someone that could be better than you, right? I am not threatened by anybody, right? I think so. I think, at our ages and our positions is that I'm looking for someone that if there's someone twice as smart as me, I'm hiring that guy, right? I'm hiring that guy like yesterday. And I'm going to learn from that person and make him successful, which makes me happy because it's not about my success anymore, is it? It's all about our employees' success and our managers' success. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, no question. The best managers, you're absolutely right. Hire the absolute best people that are better than they are at that particular task. Like you said, you talk about your wife, right? If your wife was just like you, it's not going to work. Really is just not going to work. You got to find someone who complements you, right? Sarah, same thing with your husband, right? I mean, bottom line, if he was just like you, it probably just isn't going to work, right? They have to have other attributes that say, you know what, this is what I'm good at, and this is what I'm really not good at. And, and bottom line is find those people that'll help you grow in all that you do. Sean, tell me about yourself.
Sure, absolutely. So my story is a little bit like Corey, where in 1994, when I was freshly still actually in the Marine Corps, I decided to shut my foot and got in a fight with a hangar door, and I lost. And I'm sitting in a dealership and just talking to a gentleman. I didn't know who he was. It's a long story. 45 minutes later, he goes, well, what are you going to do with your life? I said, sir, I don't know. I can't do that anymore. And he goes, come work for me. And I asked him if he sold Amway. And he said, no, I own the place. True story, by the way. Pat Clemens in Boone, Iowa, great mentor of mine. But, if there's one thing I've learned over my 27 years from my mentors is you take the good from the good and you leave the bad behind. But every day of my life, I wake up and do three things automatically. I write the three things down I don't want to do most. And those are the first things I do no matter what happens. I make my managers do the same thing to me every single day. I want to know your three things you don't want to do. And I want to know that you accomplished them the next day. The next thing I do is I write down the one thing I want to better myself on that day. Because it's easy to get caught in the mundane and the firefighting and the going back and forth. And I don't do that anymore. And I make sure of that. And then I highlight myself, and I've developed a great relationship with Ed, and you gotta learn from the best. And I truly believe that. I'm not saying that because Ed's on the call. Ed has great attributes, and I've done a lot of homework on Sarah through John Fairchild, for those that know him. And the biggest reason of our 241% year-over-year growth is our service BDC. It's not service facilities, guys. We've landlocked ourselves. We just are where we are. It's service facilities. I have an owner that I'm fortunate that trusts me with the checkbook, for lack of better words, and he allows me to spend $3 million to buy some parts franchise so we can feed ourselves. And it's those things that have helped. So in my answer, you also got to do what you're passionate at. I spent 3 years as a GM, and I've told Ed this before. Running the front end wasn't my gig. I didn't enjoy it. Fixed ops is my gig. It's what I love. It's my passion. I literally wake up every day, and I'll be 50 years old this year, and I love what I do still. So until someone tells me not to, this is it. This is who I am.
Fantastic, Sean. Those are some really good points. I was just talking to someone that I know who owns, is a CEO of Pedigo Bikes, the electric bike company. And he was telling me, he said, when your job feels more like a hobby because you love it so much that it's just exciting every day to be involved in it, he goes, you're in the right gig. That's where you want to be. Now his gig is in Newport Beach, California, which is not a hard place to gig out, riding bicycles along the beach. Okay. Why didn't I get that gig? I don't quite know. But, it's he's having absolutely, the time of his life. But, at the same time, he has a company that, sold $120 million worth of bicycles last year. So, it's a good thing. We all have to have that no matter what we're doing. In the toughest days, we have to laugh at our problems and say, come on, man, this is still a really great spot to be in. It's really fun to be in these and solving problems and fixing problems. And, I have friends that retired early, and I look at them, I'm like, I love what I'm doing. Do I want to retire and, just go hit tennis balls and golf balls around? No, I want to banter with people and work hard and, and continue to grow and sharpen myself against other sharp people. That's what really makes it work for me. So yeah, that's, I think that's the, so many really important points got brought across here that, for each of us to prepare for that next promotion or just prepare to be the best we can in the job we're in, we've got to just be passionate about what we do. We have to continue to keep learning. We got to continue to just look at how are we doing our job every day, and not get so caught up, in the trees that, we miss the whole picture of what we're trying to do. This is a really fun business that we're in at the end of the day. I mean, the reality is the front end of the store is there just, selling cars so that we can have more customers, and they're going to continue to come. And if we don't screw it up, they're going to continue to keep coming, and they'll keep buying more cars, and the cycle will just keep going and going and going. However, if we don't do that, the customers walk out the door, they go someplace else, and all of a sudden we wonder why they're not here. Well, because we weren't doing a great job for them and making it work. What other things do you guys have that would just little tips that might, help people along the way to say, hey, don't get so excited. Do a great job in what you're doing today.
Well, I want to touch on something that everybody talked about here, and they talked about the people underneath them and the teams that they've built. And that's what it's all about, because all of us in this room right now, or all of us on this call, our business is still running. There's people out there doing it for us. We're getting the accolades for it, but we're not the ones doing it. But it's the team that we built. And another thing that you have to do to prepare yourself is you got to own it. You got to own the position you're in. And that kind of got talked about a bit earlier. If you're always looking for that plan B, looking for that next deal, then you're not owning plan A. You're not committed to plan A. When you're not committed to plan A, plan B usually don't come along.
For sure. Ed has someone who works with her. Her name is Crystal. And she was absolutely just a hoot to work with, okay? Because I'd say, okay, I need a picture of Ed. And he goes, I know. I'm trying to get a good picture from him. He brings me like 12 pictures, like, no, Ed, you look silly in that picture. Let's get a different picture, Ed. Come on. And it was so funny to deal with her because she just, number one, she had all the confidence in the world, right? She wasn't afraid Ed was going to say, but she understood her role was to do an awesome job for you. And you know what? It was a blast to work with her. And it's like, oh, by the way, tell Ed I called, and make sure he gets that article into me. But I'm just going to talk with Crystal because she's just a blast to talk to the whole time. So,
and it's fun that we can be candid with each other, because we can do those things and bounce those things back and forth, and not just say, okay, I'll get it done, or okay, that looks good enough. No, be candid with each other and make it the best it could possibly be, because it's everybody's face.
Look what came out. Look how good this thing came out. You believe it's the same guy? Ed really looks good in this picture. It's awesome. Kudos to the photographer, but Ed, you're good to go. But that's even better. That was a lot of fun. We had a great time.
It's a good picture. It's very good
doing that. That was really great. So it was fun. So I'm not sure who wants to follow Sarah. That's probably going to be the hardest one, right? Because who's the next person who gets? Sarah, you are very photogenic, to say the least, right? The next person is going to be like, wow, yeah, it's not Sarah. Not going to look at that. So nice job. But by the way, your article is amazing. That's the key to the whole thing, is you really did, talk about some really important things that people have to think about when they're talking about a business development. We're all in business development, right? The reality is she's got the title. She's the vice president of business development. But you know what? Every one of us has a choice, either crash business or grow business, and our job is to figure out how to continue to grow our business. So, Corey, tell me one other thing that you're finding out there. You're out there today. You're training a dealership in South Carolina, I guess, next week, right?
I am, yeah.
What are you finding when you talk to service writers today? What are they looking at? They're looking at saying, I'm looking to grow my career. I want to make more money. I want to be better than what I am today. What are they telling you?
Well, most of them are telling me that, there isn't much of a resource for them to really understand their job. And I tell them there's more out there now than there was when I started in 1998. We didn't have YouTube. We didn't have stuff that we're doing all the time now, like with Fixed Ops Magazine and, what Ted Ings is doing. I tell them, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. You want to surround yourself with people that are going to elevate you. Just like this panel, I want to be a part of this panel because I'm going to elevate myself, because I'm going to learn from every one of you. Once I got out of the retail side of the business, I hired a business coach to really help me focus and hone in on how I could take that next level in the business world as a vendor than I was in the retail part of it. So I tell the service advisors, treat the customer like they're your own business. The dealership gives you a laptop or a computer, a phone, a BDC. Make that next service appointment with the customer. That's your guaranteed business. So if you write up 10 customers today, 4 months from now, you should have 20.
No question at all. You know what? Those are all amazing points. There really is. Sean, you're saying more that like writing down the 3 toughest things you need to do every day and then doing those. I am probably the worst at that, right? I mean, I want the frosting and then I'll eat the cake later if I'm still hungry, right? And you know, the reality here is you got to get to the cake, right? You got to do the spreadsheets. You got to do whatever the heck it is you need to do. That's not your fun thing. You review those. You said you review those with your managers as well. Those
I do. I actually make my managers, and I'll tell you, because this makes it sound like I'm a micromanager. I'm the furthest thing from. When I hire a new manager, I ultimately tell them I want them to do my job. Guys, I want you to do what I do. I want you to learn from that, but I also want you to learn from my mistakes. And some of my mistakes early in my career was I didn't do that. Let's be honest. You put it down, you put it off, you put it off. It doesn't get any better. No different than an upset client. They're not going to be happier when they get it home. Okay. So I do. And I make my managers send me those every single morning. Okay. I send the numbers out every night. I do the numbers myself. I'm very engaged with that. Again, things I learned from mentors, not things I learned myself. I learned through the years, and I make them send me their 3 things. And I want to know the next day, your next 3 things. And I want to know if it's on your list 2 days in a row, why you didn't accomplish it. And that's, again, a biggest part of our growth. You got to help your managers grow, because as we aren't buying more we are not buying more stores because of money. It's because of people. We don't have people to run our stores. And that's an honest statement, guys. We have more money. I'll get in trouble for saying that, but we have more money we know what to do with, but we can't buy stores because we can't find people to run them. Not people you trust. And again, as much of passion, the word passion is important, the word trust is just as important as well. There is nobody of my management crew of all my 14 stores that I wouldn't give the keys to my house to. And I mean that genuinely.
No question. Those are great points. Tully, same thing. Trust has got to be a huge thing with your people that are working with you every day.
It is. I think it's, it starts at the top. It starts with the Nilo family. It starts with, does the company believe in those core values? We have core values that we believe in. And anytime any of our employees have an issue, we bring out the core values and we read those core values and we do what's right. As I like to say, if it was your mother or grandmother or a relative, what would you do? And then do it. And, when we talk about mentoring people, a service writer wants to become a service manager. I think that is the best thing ever, having those long talks. So at our stores, if some service writer or a foreman or a technician wants to become a service manager, I want to show them the pathway to success. And we're not going to put them in a position to fail at. This is not, I'm going to throw you in there and see what happens. We're going to say, hey, let's take it step by step and let's show you the whys. I think what makes success is if I launch a program, I want the service manager to say, hey, I want that program. Not like, oh, you're giving me that program. You have to convince your team that the right thing is right and have them engage in making those decisions. We're not going to have them choose CDK, but if we're going to choose a texting program or any other program in your store or a process, don't you want your team engaged? And I say yes. And I say mentoring everybody up is the best way to build confidence and strength in your store to grow.
That's just really wise words. That's incredible. Hey, Ted, you been listening to this?
I have. I've also been looking at the latest issue of Fixed Ops magazine and reading through some of the articles in here. So, hey, by the way, great content on this panel. So, Ron, you really outdone yourself here.
You know what? You surround yourself with the best. Isn't that what we just talked about? You get great people, you put them around you, and all of a sudden you're looking pretty spiffy yourself when you do that, So that's all you need to do. So I thank every one of you for taking the time to do this. And I'm really hoping that those that are listening really pick up something that maybe they hadn't thought of or they hadn't put in the front of their minds to say, hey, I want to get promoted. This is what I need to do. I need to do an awesome job today. And just listen to what was said and apply it in your lives.
Yeah. And Ron, great topic. So first time we've really discussed this and got into it. So I want to go ahead and I want to thank Ed Roberts. I want to thank Corey Smith, Sean Kingery. Thank you so much. Sarah Vantine, of course, Tolly Williams, and Ron Overs for being here today with us on the panel. So thank you all very much, and great job to all of you. And Ron, I'll continue to read Fixed Ops magazine. You are the original source and the best publication in the business, hands down, for Fixed Ops.
Hey, thank you, Ted. We really appreciate it. We appreciate every one of you. Appreciate every one of you for your contributions. You know, we love having the ability to have articles coming in from real people that live this business every day, rather than our staff people just writing articles about something. It's a lot of fun to do. So thank you all again. I really appreciate it.
And Ron, it shows. Ron Overs from Fixed Ops magazine with the all-star panel here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thanks again, Ted.
Thank you, everyone.
Do you have a great product you want to get in front of auto dealers across the country, and specifically their Fixed Ops departments? You know, their service, parts, and body shop. For over 15 years, Fixed Ops magazine has been putting service-related products like yours in front of franchise auto dealers across the country. There simply is no better way to reach every dealer in the USA all at once. Hi, I'm Ron, the publisher of Fixed Ops magazine, which is both a digital at fixedopsmag.com and print magazine that reaches out to over 38,000 subscribers who influence what products are purchased in the over 16,000 dealers across the country. Fixed Ops magazine may even publish your article about a topic you are an expert and have a real passion for in this industry. Every article has the author's contact info so they can reach you. Write an article, run an ad, and an e-blast. We call that our bundle for success. You won't believe how great a deal it is. So to get started, call, text, or email me and I'll tell you more. We are 100% devoted to the franchise stores, so we don't waste your time or money. We are laser focused on your prospects. Fixed Ops magazine, the #1 way to get your product in front of auto dealers today. www.fixedopsmag.com. Ron at fixedopsmag.com. 714-803-5476. Fixed Ops magazine, the #1 way to get your product in front of auto dealers today.